can say something.
You know the format by now. You have to say something first to establish that it's the conversation between two people.
It's a good carrot.
It is a good carrot, yeah. We should have saved it after the fucking video. Bit of plastic. The 1992 male American Olympic basketball team was so utterly dominant on the court and radiated such an immense amount of basketball energy that many analysts refer to the team simply as the Dream Team. Perhaps the most controversial member of the Dream Team during the 1992 Olympics was Charles Barkley, who spent basically his entire time trying to erase the concept of givable fucks from human consciousness.
We may have some viewers unfamiliar with basketball.
Well, you don't need to know anything about basketball to watch this video. The only thing you need to know about specifically in regards to basketball is the makeup of the 1992 male Olympic basketball team for the United States. And the easiest way for me to sum up how fucking good it was is that it starred basically the entire cast of Space Jam, sans Bugs Bunny, who couldn't attend due to scheduling conflicts.
I'm assuming you mean the basketball players that were in Space Jam.
Yes, like Michael Jordan was on the team, Charles Barkley was on the team. You can put like the fact bar below with a full list of people. And if you are so inclined, Brad, if you want to do the extra like leg work, you can also put in like a little thing next to them saying which ones were in Space Jam. Because like most of them fucking were. Like the reason like this this run of games is like so legendary in the sporting world, specifically amongst like fans of basketball, is because like this was the creme de la creme of basketball talent in the world at the time. Michael fucking Jordan was on the team. Basically, the guy making the Olympic basketball team had like schoolyard picks of the finest basketballing talent in the world at the time at his fingertips. And I think like one of the people he put like Larry Bird on, who was at the time like really old and had a bad back, and he went, yeah, there were probably like younger people I could have put on the team, but like, you know what, if you're going to have all these other legends on, fuck it, Larry Bird's coming too. Like Larry Bird needs to dunk on some motherfuckers at the Olympics. Like that's how confident America were going into these Olympics. They put a guy on their team who they knew wasn't as good as someone else just because he represented like, the basketball legacy of the United States.
So a team full of greats, how good were they?
Well, they won every game they played during the Olympics with more than 100 points on the board. An Olympic record at the time, and they were so utterly dominant on the court that opposing teams eventually just resorted to going for dunks and three-pointers. Not to try and get points on the board, mind you, but just because they wanted to show off in front of their basketballing heroes. And I think it's like Croatia or the Ukraine or some shit like that were playing against America. And they knew like going in like we're going to lose. So everyone on their team just went for dunks the entire game. And after they'd lost horribly, went up and asked for an autograph, said, thank you for playing with us. Like they saw it as an honour to get styled on by these legends of the sport.
You just saw it as a charity match.
Yeah, they went in with no intention of winning. They just went in like, I need to win. Like Michael Jordan needs to see me dunk a basketball. So that's all they did. And apparently Michael Jordan, like despite being known today as a huge fucking asshole, was the only one who took it super seriously. And he would spend like hours a night watching tapes of other teams playing to learn all like how they played and what their weaknesses were. And people would come to him like, Michael, we're going to win. Have you seen the names on the fucking roster sheet on the board? And it's like, never underestimate any opponent.
Well, watching clips for their weaknesses. Their weaknesses are they don't have Michael Jordan on their team.
Yeah. It got to the point where teams playing against them would just throw the ball all the way down the court, just in the hopes of pulling off a cool shot that one of the people on the other team would go, well, that's pretty good. And maybe like put a word in for them with their managers back in America so they get signed by a team in the United States and earn the fucking big bucks. I don't think anything sums up how good and dominant this team was at the sport than the fact that teams playing against them didn't even try. They were like more excited just to see Michael Jordan than they were trying to win a gold medal for their home fucking for their country. Meeting Michael Jordan was more of an honour for some of these people than playing basketball for their entire country on the world stage. And I love the idea that some people just like went for dunks and nothing but dunks. just because the thing is like even if you lost horribly, like, imagine just being able to go back to your country and go, I dunked on Michael Jordan. Like that's you lost by 100 points, yeah, but I dunked on Michael Jordan. He's gonna remember that forever. And apparently Michael Jordan hated shit like that happening. And there's I forget the name of the player, so you can look it up and put it in a little fact bar below. But there was one player who was rumoured to be getting signed to like the team he was playing for at the time or some shit like that. And he said to his team, all right, guys, we need to play this one seriously. All I want you to do is crowd out that guy. Do not let him get the ball. Do not let that player, if he touches the ball, you go up and you take it off him. Do not let him block my shine. And they basically spent the entire match just like suffocating this one player, and he didn't end up getting signed. Because Michael Jordan is an asshole.
That's so mean. He
Oh,
could
yeah.
have been like the future of the sport.
Have you not heard about like the stuff my favourite story about Michael Jordan being an asshole is he was in like Las Vegas once, just playing some poker. Like a waitress comes up, gives him his drink, really nervous obviously, it's Michael fucking Jordan, and he chucks like a $5 chip. Wayne Gretzky just so happens to be at the table, picks up the chip, takes it off, takes like a $100 chip off Michael's pile, gives it to the waitress, says, "That's how we tip in Vegas, mate." And the reason I love that is obviously that's another assist for Wayne Gretzky. It's so good. Don't watch our video about Wayne Gretzky to find out that's funny if you don't know who he is. Just the idea that Wayne Gretzky, I like to imagine he wasn't even at the table playing. He just sensed there was a chance and just came in for the assist, helped the waitress and just skated out.
I think this is basically, it tells you Wayne Gretzky is the greatest wingman of all time.
Of course, yeah.
He just can't stop those assists. Like, he just appears like a genie beside you when you're trying to chat someone
I
up.
like to imagine that he had like those ice skate shoes that Bayonetta has in Bayonetta 2 that let him just ice skate forever everywhere. And he was just like ice skating around Vegas, like going in and helping everyone.
It's like Brian Boitano, but Wayne Gretzky.
That's actually a pretty good idea, Brad. So let's now, fuck talking about Charles Barkley at the Olympics, now discuss and create, the ultimate sporting team for good. So we've got Brian Boitano and Wayne Gretzky, both travelling around on ice, with Brian Boitano, using his magical fire breath to save fair maidens, with Wayne Gretzky always coming in for that fucking assist. What other sportsmen can we put on this team to create like the Justice League of Sportsmen?
Well, I'm thinking like obviously the villain Michael Jordan would be there.
Michael Jordan.
He'd be there trying to beat them down, and then suddenly out of nowhere would appear John Cena.
Of course, yeah, out of nowhere all the time, and his power is invisibility. But the thing is though, Michael Jordan being the villain is not that far out of the realm of possibility, because have you ever seen the opening cutscene to like NBA 2K18 or something like that? Because they have an opening cutscene where it's like create a character trying to defeat the legends of basketball, and they arrive in like a court in hell, and sitting watching, observing the basketball is Michael Jordan on a throne of skulls. So yeah, that's who's going to be there. That's your villain, Michael Jordan. You've got Brian Boitano and Wayne Gretzky, with John Cena coming in out of nowhere for the assist, like fucking Reptile or some shit. So who else do we get in to help this team defeat the evil that is Michael Jordan?
Well, I mean, you got to get Golden Boots himself, David Beckham.
But he's not wearing his golden boots. He's wearing the boots of Hermes with the little wings on, and he's kicking like football-sized orbs of energy as his attack. And because obviously he's got the really good free kick, like he always attacks from the side and swings the energy around and hits you. When John Cena comes from the shadows and just goes for the fucking fight, you can't see me 5-knuckle shuffle.
I love the idea that the entire time Wayne Gretzky's just running around helping people.
Yeah, he's the assist, that's what he does. Like he's following Brian Boitano, he's creating the ice thing, and when he gets skating, weaving in and out, always helping, always there, always ready.
Did you ever watch Heroes?
No.
So Hiro Nakamura's sidekick in that, he eventually got the power to supercharge other people's powers. I imagine Wayne Gretzky also has that power.
That's his power. He charges up other people. That's his ability. That is the ultimate wingman. He's the assist for everybody. Come on, we need more though, because this team's only got a few people on it so far. There's got to be more good sportsmen out there who'll be able to help. So I'm going to think maybe one of the strongmen. Is there any other strongmen who are well known for being super nice? I'm going to say maybe the guy who plays the mountain.
I was going to say...
apparently in real life he's a super nice guy. There's a great clip of him answering all of his fan mail in Icelandic and English, even though English is his second language. He comes in there, but what outfit should he wear? Because I'm thinking he just looks like Colossus. He's just covered in his gleaming metal. So he's just this shining beacon of strength and hope. And he just comes in just fucking throwing the caber toss, just throwing logs at everybody. Or carrying giant stones and just throwing them. Oh man, so we've got the strong man, we've got the quick guy, we've got David Beckham, we've got in the guy with the magic powers, we've got Brian Boitano, and we've got the assist guy, and we've got the guy who's invisible. So what we need now is their leader. Who is the leader of this Sportsman Justice League? Who's the most legendary sportsman of all fucking time? Who can you bring in to guide these heroes on their their quest for justice?
Well, it's got to be someone legendary,
yes.
The greatest athlete of all time.
Well, there's only one guy out there who's known as the greatest of all time. That's Muhammad fucking Ali. And he just descends from that. And what the thing is, I think he has to come down looking like Nick Fury. He has to have the eye patch. And obviously his power set is float like a butterfly. There's little bee stingers on his arms. He can be like Wasp. You can have that shit on him. He's got little bee stingers on his hands. He can fly. He's got wings. So he's dressed like fucking Evangeline Lilly in the Wasp. But he also has Nick Fury's eye patch, so we know that he's in charge. And obviously he uses the rope-a-dope technique. That's his ultimate ability. Like, no matter what you do, he always dodges it and returns like twice the power. Fuck yeah, man. That's a good-ass team. I'd watch that. I'd watch that Saturday morning show. Get on it, whoever owns the rights to these sportsmen's like likenesses.
I'm guessing with how dominant the team were, they didn't actually have to put that much effort in.
No, and it's noted that with the sole exception of Michael Jordan, who, as I mentioned, like watched tapes before each game. He didn't want to underestimate anybody. The majority of like the dream team just treat it like a holiday, to the point where they all stayed in a 5-star $1,000 a night hotel on their own, separate from the Olympic Village. And the excuse for that was, oh no, there's been like lots of threats made against the dream team, because obviously they're so famous and obviously they're making a lot of other countries look bad. We have to go stay in the really expensive hotel. And their coach was so confident they could beat any team in the world half drunk and fully hungover. He gave them carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they want. He said, you go out and drink to whatever time you want. As long as you're on the court for the next day for training, I don't care. And I think someone asked him once, like, why are you being so lenient with your team? Like, well, I have to follow any rules that I set for them, and the good clubs don't open till midnight. It's like, holy fuck. And it's noted that basically all the dream team just stayed up to like 4 in the morning, like gambling away their pensions in casinos, or like just like lounging around like fancy nightclubs, just sipping free champagne with like buxom women.
Apart from Michael Jordan, who goes to bed at 10, gets to have his banana and does his workout. So what did Charles Barkley do?
Well, Sir Charles spent most of his time just walking around signing autographs, and he still went to like nightclubs and hotels and that sort of thing, but he didn't go with the rest of the team, all their security guys. He just went around on his own. And obviously the team were quite worried about this, and so was his manager and his security details. Like, there have been threats made against the lives of everyone on this team, including you, Charles. Like, oh no, it's fine, it's cool, as he's getting mobbed by like hundreds of people. And I think at one point, an interviewer asked him, like, are you not worried about like the threats on your lives? Like, where's your security? And Charles Barkley responded by looking the interviewer dead in the eye and going like this. This is my security. Putting them back down and then going back to having a drink. It's like, holy fuck. So that's the quote. Like, you just do not want to mess with that guy, do you? You got any security, Charles? This is my fucking security. It's like, okay then, I'm not going to fuck with you. And there's a story from someone who was with him during like one of these many outings. And it says like, oh yeah, like an elderly man came up to him looking all crazy and just laughed in his face, like manically. And I thought, oh, obviously, I'm quite taken back by this. Like, bear in mind, all these threats against his life. He's in a foreign country, he doesn't know, he doesn't speak the language. And then Charles Barkley looked at him and went, you're crazier than I am, and walked off. It's like, oh, so Charles Barkley don't get a foot then, does he?
So this famous sportsman who's just been dunking on everyone is walking around with no security at all. And no, you said he went to clubs on his own, he didn't even go with teammates.
No, he's lounging, he just wanted to see, like, the area for himself. Like, he sometimes went with teammates, sometimes went on his own, he didn't give a fuck. And the reason we know that he sometimes went on his own is because his lackadaisical attitude extended to, like, his relationship he had with the press. And there is like an interviewer for Sports Illustrated who followed him around for like the entire time he was at the Olympics, and reported that like after every game, it became basically a scavenger hunt to try and find Charles Barkley, because while he did agree to let me interview him, what I'd do is I'd go try and track him down after like the last game of the day or training or whatever, and I'd find a note from Charles saying, oh, I've gone to his club, come and find me. And he'd go to that club and he'd go, oh, is Charles Barkley here? He goes, well, actually no, Mr. Barkley left, but he did say someone matching your description will be coming. Here's a note. And he'd read that and he'd say, oh, I'm at this club. So he'd go to that club. And again, the same thing had happened. And the interview goes like, yeah, sometimes I go to like 6 clubs trying to find Charles Barkley, and then just find him in like the random ass end of town in a dingy little bar, just drinking at the bar on his own with like random people taking photos and like asking for autographs. And I go up to him and ask him if he wanted to do it. He goes, yeah, but I'm about to leave. And they'd have to leave again. I don't think anything sums up how few fucks Barkley gave more than the fact he made an interviewer go on a scavenger hunt every single night, for which he was the only prize. Oh man, the Charles Barkley scavenger hunt. He's just at the end. It's like, there he is.
He's just there with a pot of gold.
Yeah, just holding the basketball from Space Jam.
I think, just going to clarify for people as well, this is 1992.
Yes.
He didn't have a mobile phone.
No, he didn't.
So that was my first thought. Why don't you just give him your number?
No, he ain't got a mobile phone.
It's like 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah, he hasn't got a mobile phone. It's 30 now.
30 years ago. Oh my God, I'm so old.
You know what, though? Still got it.
So we've already talked about a dream superhero team made of sportsmen.
Yeah, real-life sportsmen.
So what if we did the same thing, but we do that with fictional characters?
Okay, but I say the twist we do here is, obviously we made a fictional superheroic team based on real people. Let's now get fictional sportsmen and make a real life team. So let's pretend that the world of fiction had an Olympic delegation. They now have to pick, like countries do, of their finest sportsmen to send to the Olympics to represent the world of fiction, to try and win as many golds as they can. Who do they send from their world to try and dominate the Olympics the hardest? So we're going to start immediately with who's going to be their decathlete, and I'm going to say Air Bud. Air Bud is a decathlete because we know for a fact that dog can do fucking anything. Sure, it's limited to basketball, but I bet if Air Bud trained for the decathlon, he could fucking dominate. In those movies, that dog does everything, and his lineage is so legendary that there is no sport that they don't dominate. So I'm going to guess if you got the original Air Bud, and you raised him from a little pupper to do the decathlon, he would fucking win everything. So we already know, because dogs are pretty fast, so he's got the athletic stuff in the bag immediately. The only stuff he really needs to train for is stuff like shot put and discus and javelin. So we have an all-round athlete in the form of Air Bud, but who do we send for athletics in general, for the sprint and the marathon?
Well, I think we need to clarify first of all, we're leaving superheroes out.
No, because that makes it boring. Yeah. So we should say it's got to be a mortal character from fiction who just so happens to be really good at one particular thing. So with that in mind, who do you send for the sprints, the 100 and 200 metres?
Well, it's got to be Ethan Hunt. Oh, that fucker never stops sprinting.
Oh my! And as well, he's allowed to do it in the full the outfit from Mission Impossible 4, where he's wearing the Russian general outfit and throws it off, and that's how he celebrates. Usain Bolt's got the Bolt pose. He just throws off. No, he takes off the mask. He dresses like someone else. That's what he does. He turns up to the arena looking like Usain Bolt. It's there are two Usain Bolts. Runs to the end at cheetah speed and just takes the mask off, and it's a fucking Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt can run pretty fast, but I don't think even he can run for 26 miles straight. So who do we have for the long distance running?
I mean, there's only one person I can think of.
I know you think right. It's
Forrest Gump.
Of course,
he ran across the country 3 times.
Of course it's fucking Forrest Gump. He never stops. All you've got to do is have someone on the start line say, run, and at the end there'll be a guy who tells you to stop, and that's it. A game fucking over for everybody. And you just, think about, how much he runs in those movies. He runs across all of Vietnam, carrying soldiers on his back. And the best part about Forrest Gump is that, in addition to being a fantastic long-distance runner, he's also a ping-pong champion. We already know he's Olympic ping-pong champion, so he can do that too. So let's bring it inside now, the indoor sports, gymnastics. Who does the world of fiction send us out, their gymnastics representative? And do you know what I'm thinking would dominate all of the indoor gymnastic events?
Who?
The fucking Power Rangers. I know before anyone says, they have powers, but we know for a fact the Power Rangers can do all these backflips and shit without their powers, because every episode they've ever been in shows them doing backflips and kung fu moves before they activate their power coins and get all the powers of the Power Rangers. Now I'm just now thinking, remember in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, how many fucking backflips does Billy do to get across a room? Imagine him at the indoor floor event. Imagine you throw in, Joe as well, you get points for creativity. They play the Power Rangers theme song and they throw in putties and putties come in. And they just start doing backflips, kicking all the putties, and they get to the end. Or think about when you've got to jump over the pommel horse and do a flip. Tommy Oliver does it, but when he reaches the apex of his jump, he just activates and just does the corkscrew kick. Yeah, he just spins 100 times.
It's the scene where he does that. He is depowered. They're trying to get their powers back.
Yeah,
that means that is literally something he can physically do.
Of course it is. You couldn't be stopped. The Power Rangers would dominate the gymnastic event. Not to mention, I'm going to guess as well, even if you say, they won't be very good at the balance beam. Do they need to balance if they can defy gravity by spinning? I'm pretty sure if Tommy went on the balance beam and just did that, he'd win everything. They'd give him the medal in all of it just for doing something that fucking balls out insane. So that's the gymnastics fucking sorted. So let's move on and go to another indoor event, the weightlifting. And remember, we are not allowing the fictional world to use anyone who's superhumanly strong. Who do they send in?
Well, I'm tempted to say Schwarzenegger's character from Jingle All the Way.
Oh man, just the ordinary man who is supposedly a dad who can effortlessly lift up. Is it 2 people or 1 person? He just lifts up completely off the floor.
I think it's 1 person. It's the person in the shop. He puts his hands on either side and lifts them up.
Yeah, he completely...
Because you can pick any Schwarzenegger role, because obviously he's just a beefcake. But that one's funniest, because he's just a dad.
Yeah, and I like the idea. It'd be like that, I think it was the 2012 Olympics, where I think it's the New Zealand football squad managed to score a goal against Brazil or something, and the guy they brought on who scored it worked part-time in a bank on the weekend. It'd be like that. They brought him in, just he was a random dude they saw walking around who's quite strong. They bring him in, and I won't say he'd win. I think he'd get a bronze, but he'd be one of those bronzes that's so impressive because he didn't do any training. He just turned up and did it. So they're not going to win that one, but I think that's the funniest way you could do it, to style on the real world. So we've got that. That's our weightlifting champion then. What other indoor events have we got?
What about the swimming event?
Well, for that, Brad, there's only one person you can bring in, and that is Adam Sandler's character from Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Let's pause for a second so I can put the clip in. Yes. This film may not have been seen, but this is my favourite bit in the entire film.
Oh yeah, okay, put that bit in. We should probably point out as well that in that movie, Adam Sandler's character doesn't have superpowers. He's just exceptionally well trained.
to the point where he basically does... There's a bit where he does press-ups without his arms.
Yeah, he just assumes dolphin form. But I say, if we're going to stick with that movie, for like the combat sports, we have to get the bad guy from that movie who gets into a fist fight with fire and wins.
Of the Phantom.
No, the guy right at the end who has a fist fight with like a raging inferno and actually manages to beat it. So if you can beat fire in a fist fight, you can beat like a 100-kilo judo man. And we're going to gloss over the majority of the combat sports because I'm going to guess we just send in Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee and they dominate all of them anyway. But speaking of fighting though, what about the boxing? Who do we send in for that? Because I'm going to say, obviously, it's got to be Rocky.
It's got to be Rocky.
Because like Rocky, again, he's a character, he's supposed to be human, correct?
Yeah.
Like, he's just a human man, but the amount of punishment he takes during those movies borders on superhuman. Not to mention as well, have you ever seen the thing where someone works out how far Rocky runs in Rocky 2? And it turns out, like, if you watch Rocky 2, the montage, and you work out, like, based on the landmarks where he's running, his morning run is 30 miles long. Which means he could also, if he wanted to, if Forrest Gump wanted a day off, could also go run the marathon. So he's another, like, ringer for both those spots. But just imagine, like, you go against Rocky in the ring. And he's like, oh, he's like the grand champ, like, he's like, oh, Olympic champion of whatever fuck country. Rocky walks in, takes 45 punches to the face and wins with a knockout punch. Oh, man. The problem is, though, a lot of these characters that only win if music's allowed to be played. They're all powered by montage, which I feel is like their one weakness. But I feel like this conversation can go on all day. So, Brad, pick one final event for us to decide who would be the fictional delegation's representative for.
What about dressage?
Oh, God. Dressage. That's the horse one, isn't it? We've got to make the horse dance. Okay. What character in fiction, then, Brad, like mortal character in fiction, has the most control over their horse? I think it might be Zorro. Can't he make his horse, like, fucking moonwalk and shit in those movies?
I don't think he does that, but his horse does obey every command.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, isn't his horse, like, completely and utterly subservient to him because it respects his dong that much? His introduction week jumping off a fucking like 2-story building, landing on the horse knackers first, and immediately is like rearing it and doing backflips or whatever.
Carving Z's into the walls. Well, the thing is though, the discussion there is like he might be the best at controlling the horse, but replace his horse with that one from Tangled.
Oh, the one
that's basically a dog.
The horse that can do all sorts of great. So we've got Zorro.
Maximus.
Yeah, we've got Zorro on Maximus. That is like a fucking dream team there. But the thing you'd have to do there is you'd have to, like, you know, Tornado would have to make an appearance. I think Tornado could take part in the show jumping. It's like let Tornado do a show jumping, let Maximus do the dressage, but Zorro controls both of them. Like, what other thing is though? There's all those dumb events in there, and I want to go downstairs now and talk about who we get in for the rest because this is really fun.